caught in the crossfire. It's caught in the
What's up, guys? Lance, the Obscure Movie Guy, coming to you once again with another fun-filled, fact-filled video that you probably won't care about, but we're going to do it anyways, trying to change the world one post at a time. Today's video is done in partnership with Indie Horror Junkie, so go to indiehorrorjunkie.com to check out all of their offerings. The latest issue of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine is getting ready to drop later this month, and it's going to have all the gory details from March's MegaCon Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival, and it's going to have all of the gory details on the upcoming Dances with Blood film competition sponsored by Indie Horror Junkie. You can also go and check out the Indie Horror Junkie podcast every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. New people to talk to, new movies to go over, new stories to tell. Now let's dive into today's video. This was actually a submission for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival, and unfortunately we couldn't get it into the film festival. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but let's go over today's film. It is Meet the Movie.
You don't get it, do you? It doesn't look good, us being together with you. But we're here because we care. I'm here because I care.
You know what's not tasting right? The fact that out of everyone, I'm the one that's in this position.
All that chit chat, and he didn't manage to get his name. No wonder you're still single, Noah. Paul?
4 years later, how do you respond to his upcoming release?
What was it like? Like, for real?
Prison?
It's just Noah. There's Noah after 4 fucking years because of that asshole. Places like that changes people. My dad told me stories about people who get locked up.
Time to go sleep off whatever all this is.
I show up and people start dying.
Now, as I said, this was one of the submissions for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. Unfortunately, it did not get in, and it's not because it was a bad movie. It didn't get in more because of a time constraint. We had a lot of submissions, and only so many entries can get through, and unfortunately, it came down to a matter of time, and this film's runtime is actually a little over 2 hours. However, that is not a downside to this film in any way, shape, or form. So Meet the Movie was directed by Roger Connors, written by Roger Connors and R. Zachary Schildwachter, and if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. Stars Cody Steele, Matt Cain, Anthony Cavada, and Caitlin Newberry. Tells the story of a few partygoers at a gay club, and one night things get a little out of hand and somebody ends up dead, unfortunately. Basically an innocent bystander ends up dead, and the next morning we kind of get a hangover type atmosphere where Cody Steele, who plays Noah, Noah wakes up. He's the only one in the room. He's left with this dead body, and he's kind of the one there that has to take the fall because he can't remember what happened the night before. Spends 4 years in jail, and when he gets out, other people that were involved in that night start getting murdered by a masked killer, a very sharp looking masked killer. And of course, obviously, with that being said, he's out, people start dying. He's now a person of interest. And I'm going to kind of leave it at that because I really want people to watch this movie. Um, from a fundamental standpoint, man, this movie rocks. This movie checks all the boxes. The filmography is great. The videography is good. Cinematography, editing, no audio issues. Characters look great. The killer, we're going to dive into that in a little bit. Killer looks awesome. That's great job on their part for coming up with something that was unique. The kills are awesome. There's no kill that's one like another, which I like. So each kill's a little bit different than the last one. Various types of weapons, various types of ways that people get killed, and even a good old fashioned American history X curb stomping that is quite graphic in this one. So, from a fundamental standpoint, great job. Now, if you haven't picked up on it just yet, I am going to let you know that this is an LGB film. This is an LGB horror slasher. The cast and crew is all LGB. I'm going to try and do my best to not offend anybody. If I do, it's not out of malice. I'm kind of an idiot, and I'm going to try and tiptoe around some of this stuff because I don't want to piss anybody off. But it is an LGB cast and crew. It is LGB focused as far as the target audience. And they did a great job making this film, period. So I will say the first 20 minutes, I had a hard time getting through for a number of reasons. Some of the stuff that happens in that first 20 minutes is if you're not used to the gay culture, it can be a little bit of a culture shock. And there is also some SA stuff in there that happens, and I don't do well with that on a good day, just for my own personal things. So I was like, man, I actually turned it off, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do the whole gay thing. I don't know if I can deal with the SA. So I kind of sat back and I was like, well, what kind of reviewer am I if I can't get through this? Because I've watched far worse films, as far as, the nature of the content. So kind of reevaluated myself, kind of got over myself a little bit, and also had to go into it with the mindset that understanding I'm not the target audience for this film. I'm not. I'm a straight guy. I'm the opposite of what they're looking for. So once I got over myself a little bit and understood that I'm not the target audience, I was able to appreciate the film a lot more, especially from the horror aspects, because once you also get over yourself as far as the LGB thing, this actually is a really good horror film, period. They did a lot of things right. One of those things is, in fact, that first 20 minutes that I had a hard time comprehending and dealing with. And it's because Roger Connors, and I've watched a couple of interviews that he's had, and I follow him on Facebook, and I've seen some of his posts. And the thing that I really respect about the beginning of this film, even though I had a hard time getting over it, Roger Connors, he kind of came out and he was very much like, he understands, because he is gay. He understands that there is some cultural differences, obviously, but there's also things that he's doing in the film that are very much real issues within the community, which, it'd be like, it's recognizing that, yes, we do have these issues. It correlates with the story. And I think that's very brave of them to be like, yeah, I know we have these issues within our gay culture. And yes, I put it in the movie to kind of bring it to light. It correlates with the storyline. So have at it. And it is, like I said, it's a little bit of a culture shock once you get into it. But realistically, I think that was good the way that he did that. It was one of the things that he did right, was to be like, yeah, I know we've got these problems. We're not denying that. It's like going to a trailer park and being like, yeah, we've got a meth guy over here. We know he's there. It's a problem that we deal with. To deny the fact that he is not making meth, that's the real issue. So But that's one of the few things. No, I don't say it's one of the few things. It's one of the things that they did right. They did a lot of things right, but that was one of the few things that I was really able to be like, okay, I kind of get where he's coming from. I understand what he's trying to do with this film, um, and I think they did an amazing job trying to make a horror film that is targeted towards them, made by them for them, basically. Another really cool thing that he did was the way that he wrote the character of Noah, that's played by Cody Steele. Um, he's the guy, unfortunately, that basically takes the fall for this guy being killed at this club. And Noah is, he's early 20s. He's very flamboyant. He's outgoing. He's a partier. And that's the beginning of the film. He's doing all these things, and then he gets sent off to jail. And I think when he comes out of jail, they did a great job of Noah is not the same guy that he was when he went in. As I think most people would probably not be the same person going into jail and coming out, especially if you're um, not necessarily responsible for what had happened. So, in the beginning, Noah, he dresses, he's very loud, he's very outgoing, he's very flamboyant, he wears very bright colors. His mannerisms are very, loud, if you will. But then when he comes out of jail, he dresses a little bit more reserved. He wears darker colors. Um, he covers himself up a little bit more. He's toned down a lot, not just in nature, but like in the way he looks, the way he acts. And I think that was a great character arc. And I think Cody Steele did an amazing job portraying the character. Um, Definitely the most comprehensive and complete character throughout the course of the film. Now, for a large portion of this film, the first like 40 minutes into this film, you don't really get a whole lot of horror aspect because you're dealing with the partying within the first 20 minutes. You're dealing with this, random killing in the club. You're dealing with, Noah going in and out of jail. So the first 40 minutes very much lays a lot of groundwork um, for the whole encompassing storyline. Um, and it does kind of feel like more like a murder mystery type thing. Like, yeah, I took the fall. I didn't do it. We don't know who did. But once he gets out of jail, the other people that were involved that fateful night start getting picked off one by one. And that's when you start getting this horror aspect throughout the course of the film. And man, once they start getting into them killings, that's some brutal, brutal kills. The special effects are really good in this film. Um, I really liked the look of the killer. Like any good slasher, they got to have a mask, and they've got like this. Just a full like diamond encrusted just mask, and he's got the leather jacket with the spikes. I mean, he looked cool. He looked cool. He had a bat with nails in it. He uses a knife. He curb stomps somebody. I mean, all the kills are done uniquely, one from another. Um, and I think they did an amazing job coming up with like a unique type slasher. Because I mean, let's face it, most slasher movies are all pretty formulaic at this point. Um, but I think they did enough with the storyline and enough with the actual killer itself to really set themselves apart from your typical traditional type slasher film. It was really well done in that regard. And I think another thing that they did right with this film, and again, I'm going to try and not offend anybody, but I think one of the things that they did right with this particular film, it is a horror film, and they definitely left it that way. Like I said, it was made for them by them, and I think if you're a horror fan, you don't have to be gay or straight in order to enjoy a horror flick. Um, but I think one of the things that they did right with this aspect is that there is no underlining like geopolitical message about the LGBT community or straights versus gays or Christians versus gays or anything like that. Roger was very they did a really good job with writing the story as a horror film. All the characters just happen to be gay, and I was able to enjoy it because I think a lot of times films and TV shows, they try to interject some sort of geopolitical messaging that we are subjected to so much of that through social media or even traditional news media on a daily basis that sometimes we just want to watch something that is the escape from reality. I think they recognize that with this. Let's make a horror movie. Yeah, the characters are all gay, no big deal. Let's make a horror film, and that's what they set out to do. So I think it was really smart of them to try and basically leave that kind of stuff out of it because they didn't want to detract from the horror aspect of the film. And to be perfectly honest with you, they actually had a really good opportunity to try and interject anything like that they wanted to, because there is a really good scene between Noah and his mom. And his mom, they do, she is a Christian in the film, but they didn't do any you know, a lot of the typical type stuff you would see, like Christians versus gays. Oh, homosexuality is an abomination, and all this other stuff that yay or nay, whether you believe it or not, it's whatever. Um, but they had the opportunity to do that because they did recognize that character is Christian. But the interaction between his mom and Noah was not anything to do with that. She was really more along the lines like kind of upset that he was kind of, out kind of hanging out with the people that he used to hang out with. These people are the ones that got you in trouble. What are you doing it again for? So I think it was really smart of them to try and stay away from that stuff. Now, Roger strikes me as a very intelligent person. If he wanted to set out to make a movie that was targeted for geopolitical messaging like that, or wanted to do something about, gay activism or gay rights, I mean, he absolutely could. He strikes me as a very intelligent writer. I think it was smart of them to disregard some of that stuff and let this be what it was, which is a horror movie at heart. And honestly, in retrospect, one of the things that's hilarious to me is that, you everybody has seen so many different slashers, and like I said, they're very formulaic. Um, they do kind of follow a lot of that same similar formula. But basically, what you have is you have all of the things a traditional slasher has. You have the killer, you have the mask, you have the killings, you have the nudity, and with that nudity, um, again, I'm not the target audience, but I can look at it in retrospect and be like, if this was a straight movie, there'd be a lot of boobs, but it's not. So it's got a lot of hot dogs. But again, I'm not the target audience, but I can look at it and kind of chuckle and be like, a lot of the stuff that you see in a normal slasher, I shouldn't say normal, that's not a very good terminology. A lot of the stuff you would see in a traditional slasher, they still do it. It's just the other side of the coin. That's all it is. And I think they did a great job executing this film. They really did. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a really good horror slasher, I highly recommend watching Meat. Um, Again, it is an LGB film. I wouldn't let that stop you from watching it. If you're into horror slashers, this is a really good one to watch. It's currently starting to make the rounds. It's been on the independent film circuit at some of the festivals. It's getting a lot of great reviews, and I think they did a great job. This was very well written. It was very well acted. Um, none of the characters are carbon copies of one another, which I also think was really well written. Um, I mean, Cody Steele did a great job. Anthony Cavada, I mean, he did a good job. He's not a character you're going to like. You're not supposed to. He's kind of an asshole. Um, but I think overall they did a really good job bringing a modern day slasher, and doing a lot to separate from, even though it is kind of formulaic, they did a lot to separate themselves from traditional slasher flicks, created their own kind of, franchise killer, if you will, and came up with a fairly unique storyline with everything. So great job, guys. I really enjoyed the film. I hope it does well. I'm sorry that we couldn't get it in for the actual Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. Just time constraints, and we had to pick and choose. And there was unfortunately a few good movies that just didn't get in. So, but don't let that stop you. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram. Go find Meat and watch it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see everybody in the next video.